Live from the O'Brien Services Stadium Studios, this is the fifth quarter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final fifth quarter of the year. 16 weeks ago, we started off with our teams in the BB&T Jamboree. Now only 5 teams remain in the fight to be the best team in the state of North Carolina. We have our final show, and we've got Joe Catanacci back in the house tonight. Joe, this may be the end of the road for us on the fifth quarter, but what do these teams need to do to make sure it's not the last week for them?
Well, shortly, basically, Dustin, you got to score more points than the other team to advance. And Scott Braswell, you told me a long time ago when I first started covering high school sports in this area over at Hoggard, the old longtime football coach at Hoggard, in which the stadium is named after him. He told me, as long as you're playing for Thanksgiving, you are doing something right. And tonight, we had a number of teams across our Cape Fear region that were looking to extend their season one more week, looking to compete potentially for a state championship.
It is a tough thing to get to this point. They're at this point. They want to move on to the semifinal round, so let's go ahead and see who moves on to that round in the 2A conference. The East Bladen Eagles have found their run game once again. Xavier Wooten had more than 300 yards and 6 touchdowns last week in their win, and to move on, they needed to continue to run the rock against another run-heavy team. So it's over to Elizabethtown, where the second-seeded Eagles played host to the Coastal 8 Conference winner Southwest Onslow. But, Joe, this is not a good start for the Eagles. They put the ball on the ground.
Yeah, East Bladen wants to run the football, and that's what they do best. They're bread and butter, but you got to hold on to the football. Southwest Onslow able to take over after the turnover.
Because they will accept that. They will take it, and they'll take it to the house. Taj Edwards, 44-yard run. That made it 10-0 at that point. Now the Eagles trying to get back to at home. They go into the pass on this one, something they don't do too often.
Yeah, this one they're able to connect, however, not technically on the in the scouting report that they're going to throw the ball downfield, but they do so right there. Quentin Bedsoe to Sincere Smith for the big gain.
And then it is James Hollywood Higgins finding the end zone. Now they're down 3 at this point. Defense at East Bladen really holding on, making it a good, close game at this point. Nice sack right here by Darius Thomas, or it's Darius Thomas getting sacked. Devontae McKeever getting the sack on that one, but it's a touchdown for Southwest Onslow. They could not come up with a rally, and the Eagles fall in the third round for the second year in a row, 30-13. On the other side of the 2A bracket, we've got Russell Dove and company looking to move back into the semifinals. They had to make it through the top-seeded team. This is a nice way to start.
Yeah, but check out this run right here by former fifth quarter player of the week, Robbie Spencer. Nice pickup by South Columbus, trying to get towards midfield, and a nice gain there for the Stallions.
But that's about it for them. Tyus Jones gives it to Jalen Easley, 7-0 Reedsville, and then the normally sure-handed Traquan Bellamy, he puts the ball on the ground here. Look, it's stripped right from him.
Yeah, when you get to this point of the season, there's going to be ball hawks on all sides of the football, ripping, clawing at you, and you got to be able to hold that ball with 2 hands.
And they capitalize on another turnover. It's the theme of the night, 77-yard bomb. It's the end of the road for the Three Rivers Conference this year. South Columbus gets shut out against the 1 seed. Reedsville wins 28-0. All right, Joe, so in the 2A bracket, we did have one team moving on. We didn't get to see them, but the Wallace Rose Hill Bulldogs got the win tonight over top-seeded Northeastern. What are you thinking about their chances? They're trying for another state title.
Well, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many rings Wallace Rose Hill has, playing upper classification this year, but that doesn't mean anything. I love Coach Kevin Motzinger. I've known him for a long time. He's been here on this set, and what Coach Mott brings to a program and what the Bulldogs do up at Wallace Rose Hill and Teachie, I mean, they are a team to be reckoned with, and they're going to be on the road coming up on Friday to play Southwest Onslow. Should be a great game in Onslow County.
We will have to see what happens there. Obviously, Southwest Onslow is playing because East Bladen's out. Let's talk about real quick about the Stallions and the Eagles, the end of their road, but a really good season for these guys.
Again, one of the things that your goal every year is obviously to win a conference championship and then go on to win a state championship. But as you move throughout the course of the season, you really circle that date, the day after Thanksgiving. If you can play Thanksgiving football, it's a success for your season. So tip of the cap goes out to South Columbus and East Bladen for a job well done this year. Unfortunately, came up a bit short tonight.
Russell Dove and Robbie Priest, great season, guys. We'll have to see if you can make it through next year. Still young teams, young coaches in these programs overall, so they're going to have things going. Now we have more football coming up after the break. It's two of the best teams in Wilmington looking to punch their ticket to round 4. The 5th quarter will roll on after this. Stay close.
This is the 5th quarter.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, everybody. All right, Joe, it's time for our Wilmington schools. New Hanover and Hoggard both won in impressive fashions last week. How do they move on to the 4th round?
Well, Hoggard needed to continue to, do what they do best, chew up the clock on the offensive end of the football, defensively, continue to play smash mouth, physical football, just as they have all season. Going into this year, we knew New Hanover and Hoggard would be playing for a conference championship. That was hashed out a couple of weeks ago, and the Vikings, New Hanover now in different classifications. Hoggard with a big matchup tonight against Heritage. Tons of Division I athletes all over the field, some star power on the sidelines. New Hanover looking to knock off Cape Fear out of the Fayetteville area. The Colts coming into town looking to avenge a loss from earlier this year against the Wildcats. Two good football games here in Wilmington tonight.
This is the second rematch that New Hanover's played in these playoffs. Both games they had at home this season. They're playing them once again tonight. They already knocked off West Brunswick. They are going against Cape Fear Colts, so let's go ahead and send it over to that game. Start at Legion Stadium. The Wildcats played Cape Fear. We were there when those teams played earlier this year. We will have to see tonight if they could get the same results.
And it was early on. The Cape Fear Colts were able to get an early lead of 14-7. They actually made it a 2-touchdown lead for the Colts early in the second half when the Wildcats started to mount their big comeback.
It's Blake Walston that's doing that, going up top. Look at that. Look at Wiz Vaughn. See a defender. Not tonight.
Yeah, 54-yard strike to pull New Hanover to within 6, but the seesaw battle continued. Cape Fear goes back up 28-14, but the Wildcats would not go quietly into the night. There's Jabez Howard, a short yardage touchdown, pay dirt for the Wildcats.
It's important for them to be running the football. It's important for them to be making big-time special teams plays like this. How many times are they going to get punts going over the guy's head that they get to recover here?
Yeah, 28-21 at that time. You get the high snap. New Hanover takes over deep inside Cape Fear territory. Wiz Vaughn reaching out for the pylon. Touchdown for the black and orange.
He is fired up about that one. Looking over at the cameras. He always knows where the camera is. Now, ensuing kickoff. Talk about a big-time play here for New Hanover. Look at the return, Joe.
It was a 35-31 ball game, I believe, at the time after a field goal for Cape Fear. Ensuing kickoff, Francis Meehan takes it across midfield. Wildcats are in business once again. And, who's going to get the football when the game's on the line? Who do you expect, Dustin?
That is Wiz Vaughn with the end-around play. Finds the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. This is a huge comeback. It's New Hanover back in 4th game, but they win this one. They play at home again next week against top-seeded Clayton. After they fell, they're going to play Eastern Guilford. It's at home. Now let's go over to Scott Braswell Stadium. How's this for a matchup, Joe? Two of the top 10 teams in the state, the Heritage Huskies versus the Hoggard Vikings.
Opening possession for the Vikes here. Once again, 5th quarter, player of the week, Josh Jones. He could be the player of the week every week. Look at how much air he gets under that ball. Deep ball, 51-yard touchdown to Trey Hauser, wide open. Hoggard leads 7-0.
Now, this is the ensuing kickoff. I was a little ahead of things earlier. It's Jeremiah Kim kicking the ball off. This is a big difference maker. Turnovers on special teams, and they pop the ball right out of it right there.
There's the Hoggard specialist once again. The hit squad coming up big for the Vikings. Turnover for the Vikes, and that's how you smack someone in the mouth real quick. You get a touchdown, and then you get a big special teams play.
They got the field goal on that one. Then it's a pick off right here. Isaiah Kemp, he gets it all the way down. Looks like the return's good, but a little laundry on the field. That makes it 13-0 after another Jeremiah Kim field goal. Second quarter, Heritage looking to get something going. It's Holmberg finding number 81, Christian Staracina for the big game. Another number 81 loves that. Torrey Big Game Holt, one of the Heritage coaches, liking on the sidelines. You got to like this one as well, Joe. They find the end zone.
Yeah, it's Ricky Pearson who finds the end zone, and it was 13-7 your halftime score. It was 13-8 actually your halftime score at Hoggard High School with the Vikings in the lead.
Now ultimately the Hoggard defense locks down and never gives up another score. The Vikings are moving on to the semifinal round following their 20-8 victory over Heritage. Now when we saw these teams We've seen them all season long. We've been talking about it all season long. We had a good idea they're going to be at this point. Now, can they make it to the state finals?
Obviously, a repeat of last year. Hoggard can get on the bus down 74-76 westbound. They have a date with the Scotland County Scots in Laurinburg. Under the lights, maybe some injuries on the Scotland County squad can open things up for Hoggard. They know what the atmosphere is going to be like. It's like a college football atmosphere. If you've never been to Scotland County High School, should be a great night of football 1 week from tonight out in Laurinburg. Here in Wilmington, another home game for the New Hanover Wildcats as we said just before, Clayton goes down, the top seed, and the Wildcats will play at Legion Stadium next week as well.
How important is that to get that last road game before they're going up playing one of the college stadiums for the state championship, hopefully?
Well, I'll tell you what, it felt like a college atmosphere today over at Legion Stadium. Cape Fear brought an 18-wheeler truck that they had parked on the side of Legion Stadium. Their full band, the entire visitor section over at Legion was packed full of Cape Fear Colts fans, and it was loud, it was raucous, and Wildcats were in a hole, 2 touchdowns. They came all the way back in the second half to pull out a win, showing some resiliency after losing to Hoggard a couple of weeks ago in the conference championship.
That is a nice way to head into the semifinals. Keeping track at home, 3 teams moving on to that round. Now we'll wrap up our show after the break, but first, let's catch you up with all the scores in case you missed it from round number 3.
This is the 5th quarter.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the 5th quarter. Joe, we have one final chance to highlight the best football play of the week. What do we have tonight?
Well, I would think that we got to go over to Shipyard Boulevard and to Scott Braswell Stadium. The Hoggard defense comes up big tonight against some Division I talent with Heritage.
Isaiah Kemp with the interception really set the tone early on. This was the 2nd turnover of the game. Hoggard defense ultimately forced 3 to get the victory tonight. That should have been a pick 6. Hate to see those block in the back penalties afterwards, but still, Hoggard defense showing up big time against a really tough opponent.
Coach Underwood and his staff, shaking their head at plays like this when you have a guy taking it all the way to the house on the defensive score, a block in the back late. You see there, he's off to the end zone. But with that said, offense, defense, special teams all clicking for the Vikings. That's what you need when you're going to go on the road in a hostile environment, because Scotland County is a hostile environment. There is nothing in Laurinburg. All of a sudden you see all these bright lights, and there's Scotland County High School. And that's where you got to go win a football game to advance to the state championship.
That is it. Now a team that's going to have to win it right here in Wilmington. Let's give some love now to our clutch performer of the week. Wiz Vaughn put the team on his back tonight to get New Hanover into the 4th round of the playoffs. 4 touchdowns for Vaughn as the Cats won in really dramatic fashion, 41-38. This is a team, Joe. We were a little worried a couple weeks ago, I think, after that Hoggard loss, but they're showing that offense is ready to roll into the state playoffs.
I think at times in a season, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. New Hanover has had just one letdown this season. That was, of course, against Hoggard about a month ago. But when you lose a game like that, you go down in the game like you did tonight, 2 scores, really, it says a lot about your football team, says a lot about the character of the coaching staff, being able to keep everyone positive and looking forward. And you get the ball to your playmaker, Wiz Vaughn. Eventually, he's going to make a play or 2 or 3 or 4 for you, and that's what he did tonight.
That's it. Now, the semifinal round is next week, and don't you all worry at home. We will still have highlights from all 3 of those games next week. Wallace against Southwest Onslow, New Hanover Hoggard, both playing. One's at home, one's on the road. We will see who punches their ticket next week. But for now, that will do it for the 5th quarter. Thank you all for tuning in all year long and making the 5th quarter the best high school football show in the Cape Fear. Special shout out to those sponsors. Thank you guys for everything. Joe, you've been great. And everybody at home, we'll see you next week.